Hello, this is UATV. My name is Nikin. Welcome to the show. Lobbyists and clergy associated with the Russian Orthodox Church, one of the staunchest supporters of Kremlin dictator Putin's war against Ukraine, are now, as we speak, conducting an active campaign in Washington, D.C. this week. They're meeting with representatives of the United States presidential administration, including the Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, and are also attempting to sway members of Congress, of course. The delegation's goal is quite obvious, to me at least, to draw as much attention as possible to the alleged religious persecution, as Russians put it, of Orthodox Christians by Kiev. In 2024, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe adopted a resolution calling on member states to consider the Russian Orthodox Church as, I quote, a tool of Russian influence and Kremlin propaganda, end of quote. Well, being an atheist myself, I'm not into religion or faith at all, but even I know that when Russian Orthodox clergy consecrate weapons, including nuclear-capable missile Satan, and other tools and instruments of mass destruction, and when Patriarch Kirill personally states that all sins of the Russian soldiers, murdering, torturing, and raping in Ukraine will be forgiven, it could be called anything but righteous. So today we talk to people who would know way more about faith and religion and cinema, by the way, than I do, because I made a documentary and a series titled Faith Under Siege, the series, covering the true stories of Ukrainian Christians whose faith endures under Russia's war. Moore and Anna Shvetsova both represent Ukraine Freedom Project. The teaser that you're about to see now already got over 5 million views on YouTube and counting. Watch it first, and then we talk to the authors. Enjoy.
Christians know the story of Paul walking out of the Roman jail. What do you think about what happened when you left Russian captivity?
It was a miracle.
There's nothing quite like stepping into a church service in Ukraine, even after 3 years of war.
So many people have come to know Christ through this war because they've seen things.
Russian forces are closing churches and persecuting Christians.
Я кожен день, десь о 5 годині, я просинався, вставав, щоб, якщо прийдуть, то щоб я був, як мінімум, одягнений.
I have no news about my husband for 1 week. After 2 weeks, I was totally desperate.
Я розуміла, що вони передали по раціям, по блокпостам, що така родина, якщо буде виїжджати, зняти дітей.
He said, because I am evangelical Christian, he have to cast out demons from me.
Everybody in Kherson has a story about torture.
Пістолет мені до голови сюди приставили.
In the midst of it all, Ukrainian Christians are risking their lives to serve those trapped by war.
Даруй нам силу, визволитись від окупантів, вижени московитів з нашої землі, захисти наш народ. Амінь.
Bless them to stay strong.
Brothers and sisters in faith, they pray like we do, they worship like we do. But in the midst of war, you can see just how much deeper that peace and refuge from God truly means.
Wow. First of all, thank you so very much. And the next question. This clergymen from Russia, now in Washington, D.C., are they welcomed like this? And listen to Stephen?
Well, in America, we have a great tradition of being able to petition your government. It's not just a tradition, it's in the Constitution. And so anyone can come and talk to anyone in Washington, D.C. about what they want to talk about if the government's willing to take the meeting. And I think that, listen, I'm for transparency. When these people talk, they're not exactly telling the truth, but it gives us an opportunity to tell the truth and say, well, what they said is not accurate, and here's why.
And you're saying that they are not accurate by means of your documentary, by the way?
Yeah. I mean, look, our documentary tells the real story. And the real story is that Russia is torturing and murdering Ukrainian Christians for their faith. The most conservative count is that there's been 52 Ukrainian pastors and priests who have died for their faith at the hands of the Russians. And there's about 700 churches that have been destroyed by Putin. And in fact, in occupied Ukraine, you can't go to church because Putin controls all the churches. So if there is a church that's open in occupied Ukraine, you know it's a tool of the Kremlin.
Anna, you've been talking to congressional people a lot in the United States. I know that because Stephen told me. And so whose voice is stronger? Our voice, collective voice, voice of truth, or their voice?
Yeah, this is correct. We visited over 120 congressional offices talking about the persecution of Christians in occupied Ukraine by the Russians.
Right.
And the good news is that the truth still works. We don't have the budgets of Russia to spread the propaganda. They spend between $1.6 to $2.4 billion a year on propaganda worldwide. We don't have these funds, but the truth is on our side, and it's stronger.
That much money. What do we do with this, Stephen, Anna? What do you think? I mean,
what could we do with $2 billion?
Well, I know what we can do with $2 billion, but I can imagine. No, I can't. But all right, how to overcome this much money with truth? I mean, pardon me, I know this is all a good path, and we say good, righteous thing and everything, but how actually we should act in terms documentary, filming. That's right. What else?
Well, that's the good news about what's happening in Ukraine is that the truth is on Ukraine's side, and the truth still works, and it's a matter of getting out the truth. And one of the things that is interesting, we're in an information war between Ukraine and Russia.
Obviously.
And Russia's got many more resources. And the visit of these Russian Orthodox Church officials to Washington, D.C. is an example of Russian propaganda. And, you know, they're fighting the communications war as well. So on our side, we have hundreds of thousands of social media accounts. And if all those social media accounts were the pro-Ukraine accounts were to forward clips of our movie, or just to repeat what we're saying, that would be powerful, because that gets back into the conservative ecosphere. So I think that it is a matter of unity of message among the many, many thousands of people that support Ukraine. And you know, our website, you know, I've got a Substack. It's called Tales from World War III.
Right.
StephenMoore.substack.com. We have a lot of good information about what people can say that makes a difference in the information war.
What are the plans? What's the next step? Because I know the film, then the series, right? I mean, the series in...
Yeah, our main film, A Faith Under Siege, was shown on CBN, TBN, Newsmax showed it, and excuse me, and it's available on YouTube as of now. Also, Angel Studios accepted this series from our show, and right now we just finished filming a new documentary about the abduction of Ukrainian children by the Russians. Ukrainian government identified only 19,546 children who've been abducted. And these are only the names that were identified. The real numbers are in 6 figures. Russians claim that they have 730,000 of Ukrainian children. So
wait a second. They claim that they have how much?
They brag about it. 730,000 Ukrainian children. This is how they justify the war in front of their population.
Is that the justification? This is how they justify. We abduct children because we are righteous people, right?
What people don't talk about is that Russia is at 200 years low in birth rate. Partially, it's because 1 of every 3 pregnancies end in abortion. And of course, a lot of people die in war now. And Russia needs people.
Russia needs new blood, and that's the way how they... So do you believe, Stephen, do you believe this children will ever be returned to Ukraine?
There's a lot of really dark aspects to what Putin is doing here. This is one of the darkest. And, you know, what we can say is we've interviewed a bunch of children that have been rescued. Anya and I spent, you know, about a week recently just talking to children, talking to people rescuing children. And, you know, it's tough to think that all these kids are going to come back. You know, it's a real victory for the First Lady to bring back 8 kids. And that is a real victory because there's, you know, I don't know if we've cracked 1,000 kids returned yet.
Right.
And this is a slow process over 3 years because Putin has no interest in giving back these kids. Because what he's doing is he's sending these ethnic minorities from Eastern Russia to come fight and die in Ukraine, and in the result he gets is hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian children who he views as Russia, which he can train to fight, and, or he can, you know, bring back and repopulate his country.
Do you believe that it is possible for, when the war will stop anywhere, where any ceasefire in any form, do you believe, Anna, that Russia can change to the better in any way?
We hope so. It will take many generations, though. It will not be a fast. And like we have to hope because this is our neighbor.
Okay, Stephen.
Yeah, there's something wrong with Russian culture.
What could it be?
You know, there's this, you know, I worked in Russia in 1996 with the leaders of the country at the time. And there's this like unearned arrogance. And, you know, they were like, Russia's a great people. Russia's a great country. And then I would go to pick up the phone and the number 2 wouldn't work. Nowhere in Russia that day would the number 2 work on the phone, you know? And so this is a country that is a third world country. And it is a gas station with an army and with an unearned arrogance, and they feel they have the right to rule.
Gas station not only with an army, nuclear capable. So do you believe he will play that card? Anna, what do you think? Putin bad or Putin mad? My favorite question.
Putin is bad, but we don't, like, we live in Kiev. This is our home. It will be #1 target, and we are not living. So if we believed that Putin can use nukes, we would not be here by now.
I can see the logic here. Stephen, if I will give you a chance to address your fellow Americans, would you seize that chance? Would you do that?
Yeah, man, let's do it. The truth is being hidden from Americans, and it's being hidden in particular from conservatives and Christians. And this is one of those stories that just doesn't get out. And you know what I mean. And what's happening here in Ukraine is that there's about 2.5 million Christians who cannot go to church on Sunday because if they do, there will be a Russian soldier at the door of your church who will take you away and take you to prison. Now, there's churches that are open in occupied Ukraine, but none of them are independent churches. They're under the control of the Kremlin. So this is one of the most horrific things that's happened to Christians in generations, and it's on par with what we're seeing in Nigeria. Different oppressors, same motivation. And more broadly, what I would say is that we are in a global war right now. Russia, China, Iran, the remnants of Iran and North Korea are all working together, including Venezuela and Cuba and all the Islamic extremist groups. All these bad actors are working together to cause chaos and destruction. And there's shooting wars right now in Europe and in the Middle East. And right now Putin is sending drones into Europe. He's shutting down airports. He's attacking buildings. 19 drones have gone into Poland. This could happen in the United States. The drones aren't hard to build. They're not expensive. And this is something that could happen in America. And America needs to wake up. America is in a war right now, and everybody is scrolling Instagram.
Stephen, Anna, thank you from the bottom of my heart and from the bottoms of 40 million hearts of Ukrainians around the world for what you do for your film, for being staunch supporters, for helping me with the flak jacket. And this is super important. Please do not stop.
Well, Henry, listen, you do great work. We're telling the truth. You're telling the truth. And those of us that are telling the truth need to stick together. So thank you for what you do. And we're really proud at the Ukraine Freedom Project to be supportive of yours in some small way.
Thank you.
Thank you.